just going to address it really quickly. We got a lot of things to talk about in this show for about 20, 25 minutes or so. So let me just go through the topics real quick. I guess this is the perfect way to start, because I know a lot of people going to bitch at me about this. So watch this really quick, and we're going to talk about it all.
Coming HBO Sports shows. Coming up Tuesday, July 24, an all-new episode of the Emmy Award-winning Real Sports with Bryant Gumbel. Among the stories, a profile of NFL Coach of the Year Sean McVay, who has helped transform the Los Angeles Rams into the league's highest-scoring team. On August 4, World Championship Boxing returns with a light heavyweight doubleheader. Kovalev is one of the hardest punchers alive. Sergey Crusher Kovalev.
I'm covering this tonight.
Belt against Canelo Alvarez. Also that night, title holder Dimitri Bivol looks to continue his meteoric rise, facing veteran challenger Isaac Chilemba. Tuesday, August 7th, it's the season premiere of Hard Knocks training camp with the Cleveland Browns. Follow Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield.
My bad. I'm sorry. We're waiting for the HBO 24/7 preview.
And the rest of the team that aims to turn Cleveland's recent struggles around. Tuesday, August 28th, get prepared for the biggest fight of 2018 with 24/7 Canelo Golovkin 2. Both superstars will look back at their controversial first meeting as they count down to their highly anticipated rematch.
You know, we're going to, damn, was that far back? No, not You Fight Game. Where's it at? We're going to go back and talk about HBO boxing as a whole, and I'm wondering, there's still no word yet if it's going to be multiple episodes of HBO 24/7. Remember back in the day when it was Mayweather and, Pacquiao and, like ruling HBO 24/7, and it would be 3 episodes before the fight, as well as an HBO face-off with Max Kellerman. So normally it would start about a month or so before the fight, and you would have the last episode being the week of or the week before the fight. Where Showtime All Access, what they do is, with Mayweather, they do 3 before the fight and then an epilogue after the fight. That's an awesome format. I would love them to do that with this. I mean, they did do, they got something on YouTube called, we're going to go look at it. It's called A Draw in the Desert. So it's kind of like an epilogue, and they put it on YouTube for free. Let me see. Draw in the Desert. Also, a lot of people, I was going to spell it like dessert. I was going to spell it like dessert. It's this one right here. So it's 10 minutes, but it's worth a watch. And what they do is they go through kind of like, Showtime All Access epilogue, where, like the aftermath, of what happened, during the fight and afterwards, But in this case, the first episode of HBO 24/7, or maybe the only episode, is going to air on August the 28th on HBO. Obviously, I cover HBO 24/7 every year. So basically, I'm going to be covering that along with the fight. But something came out on TMZ. Let me look it up. Something came out on TMZ. Okay, we got a few things to do. We got to clear up some things from the past that I said in the previous video about something that came out on TMZ. It's this right here. I'm going to pull it up before we move on. Here we are. We got to clear this up. Notice that Canelo doesn't have his back tattoo. People have been pointing that out to me. And yes, I've noticed that. If you've been following me for a while, you would know that I have like a, sense of humor when it comes to boxing sometimes. So when I first saw this, I started laughing. Now, automatically, I noticed like Canelo's haircut. Here's a little piece of it right here. Automatically, I had noticed Canelo's haircut and his body size. People say that's the clenbuterol Canelo right there. But whatever. This is obviously from either the beginning of this year or from maybe, I would say the beginning of this year, around the time when the rematch was announced. you know. So let's see. Let's go on. As you can see, Golovkin's looking a little bit chubby. But I was joking around saying, I don't know, it's 45 days before the fight. When understand that, the footage I showed at the beginning of the videos, Golden Boy does a good job in releasing pre-fight video and photos of their fighters. You would notice that Canelo doesn't have his new tattoo. Go check it out on Instagram. And just looking at the body sizes, they were different. So also, I understand that Golovkin always comes in at top shape, and that I don't really see any point of discussing it anymore, except for we have to move on and talk about. I really think Golovkin's going to beat Canelo, unless Canelo comes out and does what he's training to do, because he's doing a lot of cardio. It seems to me he's focusing on moving around the ring like he did the first fight, but even more. Listen to this right here from Tom Loeffler, the promoter of Golovkin, 360 Promotions. It used to be called K2 Promotions with the Klitschko's, but it's 360 Promotions now. This is from earlier this year as well at the press conference, or HBO, not HBO. Golden Boy has I don't know if it's Golden Boy or it's HBO. It's a 30-minute special coming out called Mano a Mano. They did it for Canelo versus Chavez Jr. So it's kind of like, similar format to HBO 24/7, except they more focus on Canelo a little bit more. But listen.
There's definitely a big difference between Abel Sanchez and his training camp up at the summit in Big Bear, California, and what Canelo does. Canelo's training has gotten him to where he is. He's a proven champion, and he can knock guys out like he did with Kirkland.
He knocked him out cold.
Like he did with Khan.
And he goes down right on the chin.
But Triple G is no Kirkland or Khan. He's got the best chin in the sport of boxing. He walked right through Canelo's best shots. And I think mentally, that's what frustrated Canelo also. He landed that great uppercut. 2 seconds later, Triple G was right on him again. That's got to stick in Canelo's mind. And that's where we'll see if Gennady can finish the job.
Eddie.
Now, like I said, I do believe. Oh, by the way, this footage is old. They just put Canelo Golovkin 2 and put the September 15th date up there. This is from the first press conference that I wasn't around for. Long story. We're not going to mention it again. But if Canelo were to win, right, let's be realistic. It's looking like he can't stop Golovkin. It's looking like he can't knock him out, right? So let's give Canelo credit where credit is due. I know that in my last video I said that, Golovkin is the better boxer, but I feel that Golovkin is the better boxer, but Canelo is far more skilled, if that makes sense. For example, Canelo doesn't have as much of a punch variety as Golovkin does, in my opinion. However, Golovkin severely lacks head movement. Golovkin has shown he can cut off the ring, but now we've seen something new in Canelo in his last fight with Golovkin a year ago, by the way. We've never seen Canelo move like that. We were thinking, many were saying before Canelo versus Golovkin won that Canelo wouldn't be able to stay away from Golovkin and he would get stuck on the ropes eventually and get beat up. It didn't go like that. He showed head movement. He showed lateral movement. People say it was running. I think it was a beautiful, excellent performance in boxing. However, I do feel that Golovkin won the first fight. Barely, but I'm okay with the draw. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the draw. I'm going to be here on fight night. After the fight, we're going to do a lot. It'll be my return to live streaming here on YouTube. It's going to be a good night. As you can see, the intellectual properties, fair use gods have blessed me. We'll be able to watch highlights. We'll be able to talk about it. We'll be able to debate, at me. Anyway, if Golovkin loses, man, okay. Who has more to lose in a defeat, Golovkin or Canelo? Canelo's only He's 27 now, right? Let's go pull this. Let's move this out the way. We don't need this up anymore. This is what I was talking about that Golden Boy does. They give you like a lot of like content. I went to the wrong folder, but anyway. We're going to move you over here. Canelo's 27, right? 28. Just turned 28. $49, 1-2, 34 KOs. Look at this resume, though. Golovkin. You know, I'm still pissed off at Chavez Jr. Rumors going around that Chavez Jr. is going to be returning to fight Sergio Mora. I'm going to do a video on that. Liam Smith just lost to Jamie Munguia, who's supposed to be on the Canelo versus Golovkin 2 undercard. Here's what the card looks like now. Canelo versus Golovkin, Roman Gonzalez Chocolatito versus Moises Fluentes. Cecilia Brakis, unified, undisputed 147 pounds, women's champion. And Gary Spike O'Sullivan versus David Lemieux. Don't be surprised if they try to push this to another date. And then we're hearing Jamie Munguia. We don't know yet. I doubt it's going to be J-Rock. Everybody's probably saying, you know, Julian Williams saying he's going to step in. I doubt it. You know, Amir Khan, that was a money grab fight. The Cotto fight, James Kirkland, Erislandy Lara. I had Canelo beating Erislandy Lara, by the way, and I'm sticking to it. Alfredo Angulo, Floyd Mayweather at the tender age of, how old was he, 23? 22, some shit? Austin Trout. This is where he really started showing, you know, star power right here, especially that he had some real grounded, good defensive skills. You know, in those later rounds where Trout, feather-fisted Trout, was trying to light him up on the ropes, and Canelo just, even in the middle of the ring. Jose Zito Lopez, Shane Moses, and these was just the building up fights. Already, you can say already, looking at this resume is crazy. And if he beats Golovkin, you know, can't nobody tell him shit. If he beats Golovkin, can't nobody tell him nothing. I see, for example, I don't know if Golovkin would pursue a rematch. I'm sure if Canelo were to lose to Golovkin, there would be a rematch, or they would pursue it. But it's looking like Golovkin may be moving up to 168 pounds after this fight. You know, I don't see him. It's hard for me to see him fighting the winner of a Danny Jacobs and a Sergey Derevchenko. You know, where there's likely going to be bigger money fights up at 168, unless, you know, he sticks around for Billy Joe Saunders. But that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda if, you know, we're, you know, still just over a month away from the fight. What was he looking at? It's going to be interesting to see what WBC interim champion and the number one contender for the winner of this, Jamal Charlo's, going to do. There's also been talk of Golovkin versus Murata in. He's got a fight coming up. He was ordered to fight somebody. I forgot who. Oh, Rob Brandt. But there's been talk of Golovkin versus Murata in, you know, Japan. I doubt that Canelo would fight him. Canelo versus Danny Jacobs could possibly happen if he wins. I'm sure that would happen. I'm not sure if Sergey Derevchenko. And then, of course, you got Billy Joe Saunders, who's taking on Demetrius Andrade over on DAZN, which is a big hardcore fan's dream fight. But let's go talk about HBO boxing and in general. If you're not in the 160-pound division, or if you're not after Sergey Kovalev, you know, there's really no point of fighters like fighting, you know, on HBO boxing anymore. You know, like, what's the incentive? I mean, yeah, there's that glamour of being HBO, and HBO right now is in the business of not developing fighters necessarily, but really putting on the biggest fights that they can. It just seems as though, you know, I don't want to say that HBO boxing is going to die. It's looking like that they're dying. It's looking like they're dying. They're definitely slowing down, but as it stands right now, it's hard to convince fans on why they should be keeping, you know, HBO boxing, you know? Like, say, for example, me, the only things I watch on HBO, every now and then, you know, they have an awesome documentary collection. You know, every now and then I'll go take a gander at some of those. But Game of Thrones, Westworld lost me. I can't watch that. They lost me, you know. Season 2 just was, you know. I I actually like True Detective Season 2. Obviously, Season 1 was a masterpiece. Of course, I got to do my yearly binge of The Wire and The Sopranos, and then, Game of Thrones. But for people who don't watch that stuff, I mean, what do you stick? I mean, HBO boxing fans, like Danny Jacobs fans right now, you have to have HBO to watch him, Canelo Golovkin, they're on pay-per-view, so, But I'm hoping that they do something different with this HBO 24/7 that is not the same old bag of tricks. I mean, HBO is better than that, So it's going to be real interesting to see how much effort they put into making sure that we sitting there watching like, oh shit, I'm actually hyped for the fight. Also, we don't know what's going on with the face-off with Max Kellerman. Like, will they air that older version? For those who don't know, when the fight was scheduled to happen in May, there was already a ton of promotional footage shot. Here, let me look it up for you. HBO. They didn't do one for Canelo. GGG. I can't find it. It's an image of them sitting at the table, but they didn't do one for the first fight. Here it is right here. Oh, Under the Lights, Canelo Golovkin. No, this is Face Off. It was supposed to air on April the 10th. So I would still like to see them air that, even though they can put a disclaimer in it and say that it was before the fight was, originally, before the rematch was, originally canceled, Also, in regards to Canelo and his PD allegations and everything, I've moved on from that. I've already talked about how I feel that athletes in general should know not to eat food from foreign places, or they have to be extra cautious about what they put in their body. That's just should be common knowledge, So I'm sticking to it. If Canelo was to win, he's got to do a lot of moving, and he's got to focus on outboxing Golovkin. And if Golovkin's going to win, it's looking like he's going to have to go for the knockout because he can't leave it to the judges. We still don't know who the referee's going to be yet. We still don't know who the judge is going to be. Obviously, expect for it to be a big story when the judges and the referee is announced for this fight. We're still waiting for. You know what? Let me do something real quick. Let me tell you how much it costs. Damn, I can't find my cable remote. I was going to look it up on pay-per-view and see how much it costs. I'm pretty sure it's going to be $74.99 on pay-per-view. We haven't heard anything about it being sold out yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to sell out. People's just still stacking their bread up. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. We cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe.